We are live. Welcome to this week's episode of Sexually Speaking with myself, Keisha Clark, and my amazing sister goddess, Rhonda Burns. Say
That's
hi, Miss
me.
Rhonda.
Hey, what's up, y'all? How you
Um,
doing, goddess? How are ya?
yeah. So you, for those of you in the States, let's just hope you've made it through the Thanksgiving weekend with all of your pieces intact. And not feeling like you want to go away and leave the planet for a while. And wow, if you've not joined us before, thank you so much for joining us. And if this is the first time you're catching the replay, please know that you can find the information on how to play with us live each week in the text underneath this video. So wow, what the heck is Sexually Speaking? If you're wondering, seeing us for the first time, it's a process. It's a set of conversations that Rhonda and myself participate in to actually create something very different and open up new possibilities for people with regard to sex and all things sexual and sexualness. We talk about celebrating all things sex and the sex of everything. So we're playing with the energies of copulation, which is the putting bodies together, as well as all of the other energies that are included in sex that aren't necessarily talked about or frequently expressed or discussed in ways that actually open doors for us to play with more of what is possible with sex, with our bodies, with creation, with relationship, with business, with money, with all of that. Yay!
Yeah, baby.
So you can find out a little bit more about Rhonda and myself if you read the information on the sign-up page, and you can also play with us in different ways each week. Rhonda is a radio show host, as am I, on a2zen.fm. You can click over there and see our radio shows. Miss Potency is my game, and it ain't no lie.
No joke.
For real, y'all.
For reals.
She's live on Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and my show is Living Well, and I am live on Friday mornings at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we, inevitably, we're always talking about something to do with bodies. In some way, shape, or fashion, right? So today on Sexually Speaking, we're actually talking about let's play the Unshame game. Who's up for that?
Me.
It's time, isn't it? It's time to change what we do with this whole shame thing. And when this topic popped up, I was like, wow, I hadn't really looked at that. I hear it. I mean, it's sort of like part of the noise, right? You hear about the shaming that's going on. And I was looking at all the different kinds of, say we have like slut shaming, body shaming, sex shaming, girl shaming, boy shaming, all kind, money shaming. I'm like, what is it with the shame thing? So today we are playing the Unshame game. So I'll read you our write-up just for the folks who might not have received the email. So have you made it to this point in your life with no shame? If you have, please write a book, make a movie, and start a TV series.
Right.
Seriously, right? The chances are most of us have not made it to this point in our lives without some form of shame. So what is it about shame? What is it with shame and all of the different kinds of shaming that, we're so drawn to? It's like there's nothing sexy about it. There's nothing that makes us feel good about it. There's nothing that there's no energy of vibrancy or generativeness with shaming. So what the heck are we choosing it for? So today we're going to play with unshaming for a change. So we're going to play the Unshame game. And yes, you don't have to have pieces and, equipment for this game. It's just really like an in-person game. And it's really all about what if we chose to look underneath, beyond, around, inside of, and wherever else we can with all of this stuff around shame and actually change something. Maybe actually change a lot of things. And Lily is already chiming in for those of you who don't know her.
She's got the gas heat up high. I'm telling you. Holy
She's
moly.
like, oh, we got this game, girl. We're winning. Come on. So come on, Miss Lillaroo. join us. Here's Lily. You might see her tail. There it is. Here's her tail. Here's Lily. She's
Lily!
a cat. For anyone who hasn't met her.
Y'all know she's there. She doesn't have to be seen. She
doesn't have to be seen.
But she lets you know that she is there and present and doing her thing.
Absolutely.
Ain't no shame in Lily's game.
That's right. That's right. Lilaroo knows. Oh my goodness. So Miss Rhonda, were you one of the children whose parents used shame as a tool to raise you or attempted to use shame as a tool to raise you?
Yes. But as I look at it, it was never really apparent. It was the subtle. So I don't necessarily think I got shame from the family as much as I perceived it from church, my religion, and society. Mm-hmm. So it was there, but it was, like I said, it was very veiled. And I don't know if I can even explain it further, but I think many people could probably relate to that. Like, it was never actually, shame on you, but it was under the surface. Like, if you don't do this, shame on, right? So it was unspoken. And that's what I'm getting more and more clear on it in my life, is all the unspoken stuff that was there that I was so aware of that just cooked my goose, if you will. It's an interesting, And as you were talking, Keisha, like, for many people who play in access consciousness, you have heard that blame and shame are distractor implants, right? And so as I was looking, shame is nothing more. What I looked at is, what does shame have us do? It shuts us down. Yeah. It contracts us. It limits us, which is actually keeping us from being present to what actually is going on. And then I went further, is shame, just like guilt and blame and regret, like, it is threaded through the fabric of our society.
Isn't that fascinating?
So it is so pervasive that people just expect it to be there because it is. Right? And it's not until you unplug from that fabric and unthread yourself that you can see, oh, that's just all a bunch of hooey. So it was just fascinating as you were talking, like, all the stuff that I was looking at. So
yeah.
I love to go with that, right? Hooey. I love making up words. I love silly words. I had a fun conversation this morning, and I was just being silly because life is a whole lot more fun when I'm silly.
Yeah, totally. Hooey and thingamajig and what the buck and like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's just fun. And what if that is another part of what we're keeping ourselves from with this shame thing? Eleanor put in a great question. What if the unspoken is the energy that I carry?
Whew, so everything that is, because I'm feeling it in my chest. Mm-hmm. So let's just do a little clearing real quick. Can we do that? Let's just go.
Let's do it.
So all the tentacles, the ties, the binds, the threads of the spoken and unspoken energies that we have threaded through our physical and energetic bodies that we are still carrying from whatever lifetime, space, dimension, reality, or paradigm. Yes.
Like that.
Would we be willing to literally, just like a torch, just let it go, just blow it up, just disintegrate it, dissolve it, and allow it to dissipate?
Yes, ma'am.
But that would be too easy. That would be too fast.
Okay.
You don't want that, right?
Maybe only a little?
A little bit, maybe a little bit. A little bit. Cool. Everything that allow it, just take a deep breath in, blow it out, allow it to release, allow it to move. That was awesome, Eleanor. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleanor. And I love bringing this in. It's like really part of where we inevitably get to in many of our conversations is with the question of how aware are we? How aware are we?
So aware.
Now that question seems, basically harmless on the surface, right? And when you begin to play with that question, oh my good Lord and gravy, it is this awareness thing is like really pretty huge.
It's awesome.
And when we're, between the ages of in the utero and like 10 at least, how super acutely not sensitive but aware are we, and we can become sensitive. Some of us become sensitive to that, and we begin to develop things that might show up in a physical sense on our bodies or in our behaviors. Before it even gets there, like, we're just so aware of all of this, really this ridiculousness that's going on for most of us in our families and in our immediate vicinity. And
Right.
so this, when we have that awareness of what everyone is choosing, or what the main people that we're dealing with, our parents or our immediate family are dealing with or choosing, it's really easy to mistake that as our own. It's really easy to think that we believe the same thing. It's really easy to begin to believe that about ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very aware in this point in my life that that is part of where we can so quickly go into shame. And it's like this silent disease, really, So I just got the image of fleas.
Oy.
like there's these little, little shame fleas, and they jump off of people, and they jump onto other people, and they bite them, and they spread the shame. And it's like, so what are we allowing okay, there's two parts to this. So everything that you took on, everything all of us took on as children before the age of 10, really before the age of 2. But we'll say before the age of 10, because most of us it's around 2 to 4.
Yeah.
So by the age of 10, everything that we had already glommed onto our energy bodies, to our physical bodies, into our brains, into our belief structure, in everything that we had covered up our own awareness and our own knowing of who we are by the point of 10 years old. Would you be willing to peel back some of that curtain now? Would you be willing to just let those beliefs and those points of view start to disintegrate and dissipate and release?
Yes, drop them like they're hot.
Yeah, drop it like it's hot. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to save those for leftovers, guys. So there's no need to put them in the refrigerator.
Mm-mm.
Just know that, what if you could actually choose your own points of view? What if you could choose and maybe acknowledge, okay, look how aware I was, look how aware I am, and now every time I look in the mirror, every time I'm having a conversation, every time I'm doing a behavior that I would have been totally shaming myself for when I lived according to my family's points of view, what else could I be choosing with that now? So do you really have to be ashamed of your body?
Not unless you choose it.
Do you really have to be ashamed of your living situation? Do you really have to be ashamed of your children? Wow. Like, how many times do you see that brought to mind, when we're in the grocery store or the shopping, wherever we are, and there are parents who are just relentlessly on their children for everything. And what I usually notice that is beneath that is this really crazy point of view that has something to do with, you're supposed to demonstrate that you have control of your children, and if you're not, you should be ashamed of yourself. So everywhere any of us might be carrying that, quietly or loudly or otherwise, anywhere in between, what if there's another way? And what if shame isn't real, as Rhonda was saying? What if it's something that keeps us distracted?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
Ooh, the parenting stuff can be so frustrating. Yes. Yes, it is tough. And it's especially tough when we know, kids are being kids, and children are so aware. And children have in my old days, I used to call it, children had the softest systems.
The softest systems?
The softest energies. Yeah,
oh,
because they were, we don't have all of the stuff, piled on when we're 2 and 5 and 7, right?
Yep.
And so we are more likely going to be the ones as children who are acting out those energies, and it shows up as different behaviors. Absolutely. So when it comes, since we are on a show called Sexually Speaking, what I'm aware of is that all the kinds of shame that we come up with and that we try to hold on to and reinforce and justify and explain, all of them inevitably feed into this shame that shows up with our bodies. And that's sort of a silent killer in our relationships, both with our own bodies as well as with a partner. So what is your what does that bring up for you, Goddess Rhonda?
I'm highly distracted right now, and I'm actually looking at Eleanor's comment, which is awesome. She always thought that shame was deep inside her as opposed to being covered by shame. Here's what I want to say to this. That's awesome. Thank
Nice,
you.
Eleanor.
And this, like, I am getting so clear. It's been such a crystallization for me of what is actually true and real for me. Is there is nothing unharmonious, heavy, solid, dense, unkind about us as beings. Like, we are the lightest, brightest, clearest channel, highest vibration, happy-go-lucky, joyful, infinite space. Like, and then this reality densifies things and contracts things. And again, we chose this life, right? So to that point, it's like that's just something we bought. It's here. Yeah. We have come to this reality for whatever reason we chose it, right? We manifested being here. We actualized being here. And as Abraham Hicks says, sifting and sorting and clarifying and contrast of what we do desire, what we don't, like, that's part of what we came for. But once you recognize that's just the game that's played here, and you can choose whether to exit that game and play your own game or not. There's nothing about us that includes shame or blame or regret or guilt or, malice. Those are just choices, right? And so, is there anything about shame that's light? No. Well, if I'm a being of light, I'm wearing shame, that's just a choice. What if we just focused on getting back to what feels light, right, and good to us, regardless of what anybody says it should be like? So sorry, that's a little bit of a tangent, but it's like,
it's a great tangent. I like it.
So
and I love this kind of distinguishing between, because I know a lot of people, myself included, I have had that notion that that it was something that I carried, not necessarily shame, but these different things that we carry. And so, Eleanor, would you be willing to just let yourself play with, what if what is actually inside of you is the light, is the true, the way that actually works for you, is your awareness, your knowing, and your connection to the spark that gives rise to all that is in the universe. And what if it simply has been covered?
Yeah, and she gets it. Yeah, awesome. She gets. And it's so funny. I got to share this.
And only Eleanor can play with that, guys.
Nobody else can.
None of you others can do that. That was only for Eleanor.
Right. Speaking of parenting and kids and stuff, I was driving in through a parking lot yesterday, and the level of stupidity, unawareness that is in the world right now is like a cacophony of just proportions that makes me want to, like, exorcist head spin around. Right. And I'm driving through this parking lot, and I just had this burst of intensity. Like, I was fireballing, like, cars. I'm like, you are fucking idiots. It's just like the level of people with their heads up their asses is just daunting. And so I parked, and as I'm walking by, I see this bumper sticker, and I posted it on social media, and I literally put my head up to the heavens and laughed out loud, and I stomped my feet, and I said, thank you, universe. I got it. It was just funny. And this parent on their car, it says, proud parent of a great kid that is sometimes an asshole, and that's okay. And I'm like, there is no shame in that parent's game. They called it for what it was. I took a picture. I said, Santa, I want one for my car. I do. Because it's like, let's just call it for what it is. None of us is quote unquote perfect. This is the experience here on the planet Earth of playing, and kids express. They don't withhold.
Totally.
It's usually our resistance, right? And how we want to control them and how it needs to look. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. I can relate to that parent. There is no shame in that game. I got no shame in my game. I don't care if you like me as a parent or not. Like, shame is not part of my world anymore. So anyway, I just thought that was a super.
That is priceless.
Awesome. It was like, universe, I know you got me. I know you got me. It's all good. Because my focus on the stupids was gone. Because I was like, okay, poof, that fast. So there you go.
And I love Joe saying she seems to think bloody muggles all day long.
All day long, right? And here's the thing. As we focus on the bloody muggles all day long, what are we going to get more of?
Right.
So the universe is like, hey, girlfriend, you wouldn't want to be in that zone. You've been wanting to be in the alignment of you, right? So it's like I was focusing on the stupids and I was blasting them. I was going to create more of that. So the universe got my attention, whacked me upside the head, and I was off and running in a different tangent. So notice where your focus is.
It never shows up the way we think.
Never.
So, and this is so interesting to me because with relationship, like one of the biggest things about relationship that I'm becoming more aware of is that really this whole thing we do with creating relationship with each other, whether that's lovers, families, our own kids, it's about like, this is me. It's my interesting point of view.
Right.
What I get is it's a way for us to have the possibilities of seeing ourselves in different ways. Mm-hmm. And so, like with our kids, one of the things I love about the reality that we show up as kids first, is that for so many of us, our kids can be the way for us to check ourselves. And so it's really not as much about like telling our kids what to do, although that is part of being a parent, yes. Mm-hmm. But it's like I'm seeing more and more how with whether it's kids or whether it's peers or whether it's coworkers, like it's a way for us to receive information about us, not the point of view that person has necessarily. That's not necessarily what I'm talking about. It's more of this when things happen within those relationships. When your children drive you to the point of wanting to, say very colorful words or even more than that, it's one of the moments that we get to check ourselves, like, and we don't always do that. So if you've just gone into making yourself wrong for not being an angelic parent, please don't. Like the bumper sticker said.
Hang out with me, I'll break you of all that need.
Ron's
a lot of work
for that.
A lot of efforting.
But I love that we get to have this way to play together, but also like really have those moments to check ourselves. And that's one of the things I appreciate greatly about my relationship with you, Rhonda, and is that we have conversations. And we've never really driven each other to the point of, irritation, because really the way we do our conversations is about exploring. Yeah. And not all of my relationships are that way. So in the relationships that it's not necessarily with people who have that as one of their targets or one of the ways they like to play. One of the things I notice is that when I have a reaction, when I have that, something that gets mm-hmm. my attention, that's a point for me to be able to go, oh, what is this? What's going on here? And now what I used to do, and part of the reason I bring this up is I would immediately go into their universe. Yes. And all of the tangled upness that was going on for them is what I was really perceiving. And that's where I would put my focus. And then I would very quickly get lost in the tangledness of their forest.
Yes.
So this is something I just invite all of you. Where can you, in your relationships, become now more aware and more willing to actually acknowledge what part of this is yours? And if somebody's having a meltdown in front of you or in your presence, do you automatically have to do anything about it? Are you obliged to do anything? Or can you simply just be present? And what if it doesn't have anything to do with you?
Yeah, that's amazing.
And that's where shame gets us so twisted, tangled. Ugh.
Yeah. And that's energy right there is, so shame is an external driver. Mm-hmm. Shame is an external focuser. Shame is an external distractor. It takes you out of being present and you have to go external. If you're willing to stay present and go within and look at you first, run everything through the filter of you and what's vital and important to you, you're not externally focused.
Yeah.
And that's yeah.
So now when we put this into the context of a primary partner, a lover, somebody that we're either dating because we want to have, long time relationship, or whether we're just wanting to have sex, copulation, and a bit of fun for a while. this seems to be even more intensified. Because when you involve sex, when you involve the possibilities of copulation,
Right.
there's all the vulnerability triggers start to get activated there as well. And it for whatever reasons, it becomes more significant in those relationships. So what else is possible for us to play with to be able to have our own, what are those called? Like a stopgap or a something that we could put into place for ourselves energetically, that when we're going there with our lovers, when we're going into that twistedness, that tangled upness, when we're really perceiving what is going on for them, but we're trying to make it ours because we don't like that awkwardness, that uncomfortableness, whether we're having our clothes on or whether we don't have our clothes on. What are some ways that we could create that flag on the field for ourselves? I know a question we often play with is this mine? And I'm aware that in some of those rather intense moments, you kind of have to work that muscle. Because that was not a muscle that I was able to wake up right away for myself.
Right. It is a practice. Yes.
Yeah.
A practice. Yeah. I think I'm going to this might make head spin, but I'm all about simplification. Like, let's go as easeful, right? Like, we try to make this stuff really heady and really difficult, and how many steps? Okay. Bottom line, do you want to feel good? Okay, that's my primary, and this is Abraham Hicks. Like, if feeling good is your primary focus, and you practice feeling good, right? And whether you're with a partner or you're without a partner, if you are practicing every day on feeling good, walking tall, doing your things, right? Whatever your game is, right? Like feeling good. And let's say you're in with partnership, you're in with your person, and you're feeling good, and then you don't feel good. You feeling good doesn't change that. Like, that ain't yours. Like, it's that simple. So, like, how do I want to say this? I got so much stuff coming at me right now. Are you willing to be the dominant feel good you truly be? And that if you are in with somebody, you're about to do the deal or get down to it or whatever, copulate, have sex, whatever it is. If you're like, yeah, you're rolling, everything's flowing, everything's good, and it starts to get funky and you're like, what the heck? You probably already know it's not yours, right? Because you are practicing feeling good and doing your thing. So then I would recommend, hang on, you need to take it to, sorry, I've got like Squirrel City going on up here. It's so funny. The squirrels have multiplied. Okay.
We love squirrels.
So again, it's as simple as, what's it going to take for me to feel good in this moment?
I love that.
And that just gets you back into you. And I wonder if in those moments, like, oh, I'm all about feeling good, you can actually start to override whatever's going on for that person because you're so present to the energies. You are so present to what's showing up, and you are the dominant intent and focus of feeling good. What if that just juice and magic and like permeates over everything? Are you willing to be that dominant? Are you willing to be that powerful and potent? Are you willing to like flow your juju magic all over everybody, no matter what's going on for them? Because you are about feeling good.
I love it. Yes. Amen.
I have no idea what I just said.
That's why we record these conversations.
Woo! God have mercy.
Oh my goodness! Yes,
I'm all about feeling good. That's all I know.
Wow.
Thanks.
Well, and it is funny because we hear that a lot, and I know every time Abraham Hicks says that, I know there's a number of people that roll their eyes.
Right.
And like part of what I get is that they're not saying just make it up. They're giving us, I mean, if you listen to many of the recordings, they're giving us really specific information about, look for the energy that actually makes you feel lighter, more expansive, brighter, makes you actually enjoy. Where was that energy? And we all have those times in our lives that we've had that. And hopefully for many of us, we've had more than a few hundred. Right. So, So it's like, go to those moments and then tap into that. And with shame and shaming, what if that was one of the fastest ways to literally transform that energy, or throw that energy off, destroy it, uncreate it, dissipate it, release it, however you want to say it. And when you're in a conversation with someone else, when you're in a situation with someone else, start playing with what you can actually say. Because you don't have to tell them that you're going to go, change the world. You don't have to tell them that you're working magic on them or anybody else. That's just for you.
Right.
That's just for us when we're in those moments. Now, if you're with somebody who can have those conversations, awesome. Have those conversations. And if you're not, is it really a kindness to try to have that kind of conversation with someone who's not willing or not really desiring to have that kind of conversation?
Yeah, what if it was as simple as distracting them from their own head trip, right? Which is, sugar, ooh, I love the way your shoulders look when you don't, when you go like this, or ooh, I love that dimple, or ooh, honey, your ass, right? Like, get them distracted, and like, because we spend so much time up here that we're not in here, right? And then we start shaming, and it's like the art of distraction is so key to get people out of their head trip. I know I do it for sometimes I'll go down that rabbit hole. I know you do too, right? We go down the rabbit hole. We got to distract ourselves.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that you forget, but going down the rabbit hole and churning up more of what doesn't work, what doesn't feel good, what isn't contributing to us having greater, isn't actually going to change it. So if you can get off that path, change your direction, then you can actually look back at it with a different perspective that's probably a little bit healthier, a little bit clearer, you're less entangled in it, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
And here's another part of this. Like, I hear, and I used to say this, I used to be one of these people. So you have friends or you have a lover who choose the same thing. They choose this to be disrespectful to either themselves and or others. And how many of us have gone to the place of trying to make excuses for the other person? My challenge and my invitation to you is, what if you could simply choose not to engage them? Like, what contribution is that really to you, to your life, to what you desire to be creating? Mm-hmm. And to speak in terms of energy, does that energy, does the energy of choosing to be with people who don't respect you, does that match the life you truly desire to be creating? For me, it doesn't. Mm-mm. And I think there's a brilliant thing going on right now. It's not a comfortable one. It's not pretty. And at the same time, it's really interesting to me the way this whole electoral campaign, the election campaign has gone in the United States. It has really brought a lot of this kind of thing into the forefront of many conversations. How many relationships have we created that we've really allowed a great deal of, what is that called? Leeway? No, it's not quite. Anyway, essentially what it amounts to is that we're choosing to be a bucket for other people's shit and vomit. And what is that really doing to our bodies, to our lives, to our businesses, to our bank accounts? Now, if you get paid well for being a barf bucket, more power to you. And do you get to really enjoy what you get paid? Or are you working to throw off the toxicity of being a barf
I'm
bucket?
Lost. Can you, I'm not I'm lost.
Sorry.
What are we talking about?
So when we're in relationships with people who are not choosing kindness for themselves or anyone else,
okay,
and we make excuses for the other person so that we can continue that relationship with them.
So condoning the behavior, making
essentially,
okay,
yeah.
Cool.
So if you're choosing that kind of relationship, my invitation to you is to really take a look at that. Now, for some people, that could be so uncomfortable because, yes, if you're married to someone who chooses that with you, that can get really challenging, really difficult. That's very tender area. I get that. And does that create what really works for you? And if that is how you're going to choose to spend your life, are you willing to be aware of that? It is a choice. Like Rhonda was saying, we say a lot on the show, on many other shows, it's all a choice. And everything I'm saying right now is not about making any of us wrong for choosing that, because I have chosen that. I chose to be in relationships with people who were not reverent of me, who were not willing to be kind. They were not willing to have the kinds of conversations that I desired to have. They were not willing to create the kind of life that I hadn't created, but I was aware was totally possible.
Right.
So I get that that's a part of the shame thing, because when we're choosing those relationships, we can very quickly go into the shame and the blame and the guilt, really, with every intense situation, because we're already creating this intensity or this pressure that's building up, given that we're choosing to put ourselves in something that doesn't feel good for us, that isn't really kind to us, that doesn't really excite our bodies.
Right.
So if we're doing all of that, we're actually creating the thing that we say we don't want.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that was just something that I have an awareness that a lot of us create those kinds of relationships, and we sort of endure that, whether it's at work or in our own businesses or in our marriages.
Right.
And what is that really creating?
And in our friendships too.
And in our friendships.
In our friendships, yeah. And
if you want to call that friendship.
Right? Cool. Well, and here again, it all boils down to, and if we don't make any of it wrong, if we don't judge any of it, when we're ready to change it, we will, and not a minute before.
Right.
So again, just becoming aware of, is this an enjoyable contribution? Right? If you know what's important to you, if you know what's vital to you, if you know what you desire, and again, it's a process. We're continuously, clarifying and sifting and like, oh, add that to the list and oh, get that off the list, right? It's just a process. So, I know Keisha and I tend to run at warp speed, right? Like we're quantum in so many ways. And so it's like, I don't know what I want to say. This is such an interesting conversation for me today, because I'm like,
very interesting energy.
So I'm going to acknowledge, like, I am someone who had so much shame locked into my reality, locked into my physical body, locked into my energetic bodies, locked into my, like, I carried so much shame. And I will tell you, sitting here now being, I think I'm 49. Did I just turn 49? I think that's, I don't even, like, it doesn't even compute. It's not part of my reality anymore. And I thought that would never be the case. When I look back at being 12, when I looked back at being 16, when I looked back at being 23, right? I never could have conceived a life without shame. Like, that's a big fucking deal, people.
It is a big deal.
To not have shame as my reality, like, that's why I'm having a difficult time speaking to it. And so I'm like, I don't think I've ever acknowledged that before. To the degree that it is, it's like, holy fuck, that's amazing. So, friends, what
that is,
it could be your reality too if you chose it, right? Like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
I'm struggling. Can you tell I'm struggling today a little bit, friends?
And it's awesome. I don't know. Is it struggle, or you're being this beautiful space too,
Well, thanks.
And I'm appreciating that. And it's like, that is part of us having these conversations. That is an interesting thing about having the conversations, because really the desire we have, the target we have with these conversations is to open up more possibilities, to open ourselves to more possibilities, to activate more of the possibilities that are available to us. All of us, I'm speaking in cumulative terms here, all of me and Rhonda and you, the listeners and the viewers. And so when we're bringing up a topic or a particular point in the conversations, it's never about harping on it, and it's never about making that a wrongness. It's never about saying, oh, but you got this going on over here, so therefore you don't have a choice. Because you will never hear us say you don't have a choice. It might feel like it. It might seem that way. And what we are going to remind you and ourselves again and again and again is there's always a choice. Even if it's a choice to take a breath in that moment, you have a choice, and then you'll have another choice, and then you'll have another choice. And with shaming, it can shut us, we can let it shut us down. And it is, and I think you said this early in the conversation, Rhonda, it's one of those ways that we cut ourselves off so quickly and so drastically, to keep ourselves from seeing ourselves and from being ourselves. And anywhere and everywhere that we're choosing that, there's going to be some things required if and when we're ready to change that.
Right.
So, and that's really that's the energy of these conversations, is you make the choice, and there are choices required to bring that choice into fruition. Okay. And they're not always the most fun you could have. Mm-hmm. They're not always super, super fast, or they don't feel that way. Sometimes you're going super fast. You're just judging yourself that you're not going super fast, but you might be going super fast. So what if you played with any kind of thing that comes up for you? Like I started, after this topic waved at me to put on the docket, and I pitched it to Rhonda, and we were off and running. I was playing with, I've known parents who do that shame on you thing, and they do it like full out, thinking that that's, an appropriate tool to rear their children by. Mm-hmm. And I started to have this visual of, anytime I went to have a recollection of that, or an expression of that I would change the word to unshame you, unshame on you, and see what that creates. And so maybe that could be something that you would maybe play with this week. I'm going to play with it more, because we get to certain points of our lives and we feel like we've got like ourselves really ripped open, and like it's very intense, and that's when we can go into shame about whatever. And so what if we could play with something like unshame on you, if you unshame on me, unshame, I love
it. The walk of unshame.
The walk of unshame. Exactly. That's awesome. Exactly.
Yeah. And yes. And that's awesome. And what I hear is, I heard, like you said, but flag on the play, like in sports. Mm-hmm. So I actually heard a whistle. So every time you perceive shame, you're like, whistle, right? I don't want to blow your eardrums out because I can whistle loud, but woo, flag on the play, call it for what it is. Like, I see you, I'm calling you out, right?
Exactly.
Right? Yes, games. If we came at everything from a game or a playful aspect, the fun of it, watch how fast it changes. It is crazy. I love it. So unshame you. Unshame you.
If you're a parent, unshame you. That's unshameable. So if you're a parent, what if you said that to your kid and just blow their mind? Like, right. The next time you get so irritated or they're really pushing your buttons, just, you know what? Unshame you, doggone it.
Such a different energy, right?
It's totally different.
Or it comes out of your mouth, right? Your parent, you're like, shame. Right? Like, rewind. Or beep, beep, back the bus up. Like, how much fun can you have unshaming, right? Playing totally. That's so much different. Such a different energy. I love it.
So wow, yes, that's the lightness we desire, and that's the fun and the ease that we desire. And what we know, if in case anybody needs a reminder, and of course it always helps to have our own reminders ourselves, what we're aware of is that is the energy through which things can change with so much more ease. Yep. So if you're yelling at yourself, your significant other, or your children, and the intensity is building, that's a constriction. And how much can you dance in concrete? In quicksand, in mud? You can't. Nope. It's not very easy. So when you can turn it on its elbow or on its ear, as we say, the energy of that lightness, the energy of the laugh, the energy of the oh my gosh, let's pick, can we please pick something else to do here, that is when more of the possibilities for change become available. Because in that lightness, in that expansiveness, we become able to see them. We become able to then choose them.
Yeah.
But in the constrictedness, we simply can't. And that's just laws of physics, guys. That's just the nature of energy. Yeah. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to choose that, to play with that.
Joe typed in, she used to think my lightness was silly. Now she knows it's a super magical power, and silly and proud. Yes. And
yes.
So this is, because it's, so going back to shame, right? So it's so pervasive. It's in the thread of the fabric of this reality. And so it rolls off people's tongues and they don't even think about it, right? It's just there. It's like, bleh. And so when you are willing to like blow the whistle on it or unshame or whatever tool, you want to play with, what you do in that moment is you catalyze a different reality. You catalyze the possibility for a different reality for you and for them and anybody else who's willing for it to be different. Because in your silliness, right, in your giddiness and playfulness, it disarms people.
Totally.
People are like, I don't know what to do with that. Oh my God, right? And it actually snaps them back into presence. And then who knows what they choose. But like, it is magic. And you do catalyze and alchemize something very different. And whether they do anything different or not, it's not up to you. But you are willing to speak and be what's true for you and what feels good for you and what actually works for you. So yeah, turn it up. Turn up the silliness. Turn up, be proud of the goofiness, right? And did I share the money thing that Megan told me about being more?
You shared it last week, but share it again for folks who might not have heard it.
And I kind of shrunk because I was in horror, like, more? You want me to turn me up more? And it's not necessarily about the volume of me. It's the energy of that silliness, right? That goofiness. I love to speak in pet names and sugar and honey and that's me. And I had been limiting that. And so the more of that I turn up that volume energetically, it's actually I can perceive where it's actually catalyzing other people in ways that I couldn't even have like projected or expected. Or so how do I want to tie this together? So just turn you up and watch what happens. That's what I want to say. Just turn you up. If it feels good and it makes you laugh, do more of that.
Yeah. And what if that is the Unshamed game?
It's up, yo.
I love that. Joe, you are so precious. Thank you, Joe.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And what if that is the Unshamed game? What if that is the way to throw off the residue, before you really like dive all the way in and smear it on your skin and like, soak it in through your pores? What if you can actually throw it off? You can actually make that choice to go, that doesn't work. It doesn't smell good. I don't like the taste of it. It's not fun for me. No, unshame you. Unshame me.
Pull a Taylor, shake it off. Yeah, shake it off. Do whatever you gotta do. Like, no.
And if you have this, because what I'm aware of too is like you could be trying to say it and you're totally using it to reinforce the opposite point of view. So I'm just going to ask you not to do that.
Don't do that.
If you have an awareness that you're still having some shit up, ask, what is that? Oh, what is that? And if I wasn't making it mine, what else could I know about it?
Mm-hmm.
Like if I wasn't assuming it's all mine, what else could I be aware of? Again, we play with questions. We like the questions.
We like a lot of questions.
And we love the show me questions. Universe, show me the unshameable me I truly be.
Ooh, preach it now. Hang on. I got to get my pen.
Right?
Show me the what?
Show me the unshameable me I truly be.
I'm telling you, I like it. Unshameable.
You might be able to have a little bit of fun with that.
Oh my gosh. And I like Joe says, bust it from the inside out with bubbles, light, and glitter. Like, glitter me how, like, baby, poof. Like, you bring shame at me, it hits the glitter bottle and poof. Glitter.
Love it.
We're having way too much fun, Keisha. We must stop this.
Tone it down. You are unshameable. Unshame you. That is a silly thought. Oh my goodness. much fun could we have knocking shame out of our game this week? Because if you got shame in your game, you're slowing yourself down.
Mm-hmm.
You're keeping that lover at bay. What else could be possible with the having sex in your life? The mind-blowing, body-rocking, earth-shaking, universe-rattling sex that you are truly capable of, that your body would actually probably really appreciate if you'd let it happen, if you let shame go. If you just let it go.
Bye-bye.
Yeah?
Bye-bye. It comes up. Bye-bye. Like, be silly. Bye-bye.
There you go.
Toodles. Ciao. Arrivederci.
You get no parting gift. You're just gone. Bye-bye. There are no lovely parting gifts for you.
Mm-hmm.
Shake it off. Right, Eleanor?
Right.
So would you let yourself have that? You know, in the moments that you feel you know the signs of when that's starting to happen for you. You know whatever goes on for you when that shame begins to activate, when that blame, that guilt, that whatever's connected to it. Because for most of us, it's more than just shame. Like, that's sort of the door opener for lots of unfriendlies to come in.
Right.
And you know when you're starting to go there. And would you be willing to stop yourself, catch yourself, flag on the field, flag on the play, unshame you? And what if those were the moments you could begin to ask, universe, show me what else is possible here. If I wasn't making this mine, what else could I choose? Show me the unshameable me I truly be. What if shame is just a lie? An invention. Totally. Yeah. Totally. And really what we know is that primarily where most of this distraction comes from is the fundamental point of view that somehow there could be a wrongness about us. That somehow we have to be separate from the mighty force that created the universe. Well, we have news for you guys, friends. That's a lie. Totally. That is a bald-faced, ridiculous lie, and it has been perpetuated for millennia. And yes. It's a really good marketing tool. It's made a lot of people a lot of money, and you still don't have to buy it. So return that, get a different investment, and don't let that lie run your life. Because from that lie, that anything could ever be wrong about you, with you, through you, by you, of you, that you could ever be a wrongness, from that lie, so many more can be created.
Yep. That's
where the shame, the blame, the guilt, the regret, the resentment come in. So what if you could shut that door and send them on their way?
Shut the front door.
There you go.
The back door. Shut the door. Keep the door closed. Barricade Katie bar the door.
So how much fun can you have unshaming you this week, my friends? And if you need some more, cue cards, fun things to play with, Rhonda's got a show coming up tomorrow.
Oh, I do. Hang on, I'm just finishing this.
November 30th. So if you're watching this after the 30th, know that you can always go to the archive page in a2zen.fm, and you can find our previous shows and conversations that we've had. And, is that something that might contribute to you as well? It doesn't have to be one of our pages. Go to any radio station, search the archives, and just ask, like, what conversation, what topic would actually contribute to me today?
Yeah, and I think mine tomorrow might tie in well to this. If it's leaving obligation station, no reason or justification necessary.
There you go.
I don't need to tell you why I'm not going to buy your shame anymore. I'm just not gonna.
There you go.
So
Tell it. All right. And so maybe if you want to come play with Rhonda on a2zen.fm, that could be fun for you, maybe.
I would love to have you. to have you.
Yes.
What are you talking about Friday? Do you know?
Friday, we're bringing the spirits. We're spirits for the holidays. Because, you have the home for the holiday and you have spirit of the season. Well, this isn't either of those.
Because we got to do it different.
I got to be different. Of course.
I love it.
It's my little rebel, yeah, so it's going to be the December We've Got Spirits. I'm just calling it a little something different. So if you want to call in, if you want to have a reading, if you'd I bring my intuitive mediumship to the show. I mean, I do that every week, but on these particular shows, I open up the lines for people to call in for readings. So if you want to send me a question ahead of time, I am happy to address it on the show in case you can't make the show live. So yeah, come play with us.
Awesome.
In either case, please. It's always a contribution to us, and we desire it to be a contribution to each of you. So would it be fun for you to come play? And yeah, I got no shame about talking to people that other people can't see. So
right,
come right on in and play. So how much fun can you have this week, friends? Changing whatever doesn't work for you in your life, in your business, in your relationships, in your bank accounts, in your whatever, in your in your laundry routine. And I'm just freaking grateful. Thank you, Rhonda, for choosing to come play with me, for all of you who choosing to come play with us. And you know, there's just something so freaking magical that is available to us. Yeah. And I know that, and I look forward to discovering even more of that. And I'm thankful that each of you are a part of that with us. So
I'm so
what
grateful.
You got, Miss Rhonda?
I'm just grateful. I'm just sitting here like I've had a silly fun time. We've blown through 57 minutes like it was like 2. And like, friends, that's how change can be. That's how transformation can be. That's how eliminating things that don't work can be. Like, the sillier and the funner you allow it to be, the lighter you allow you to be, watch how much more ease you infuse into your life and into your body. Look at the amazing people that start to show up and actually want to play with you. Like, enough of the hard, right? Enough of the distraction of what's heavy and doesn't work. So I'm just grateful. Yeah, like, there ain't no shame in this game. There's a gnat flying around my face. I'm like, don't you come in my mouth. You know, I'm just committed to having more fun, and like, with every conversation, and regardless of what people might think about, well, that's not appropriate and that wasn't very, like, yeah, I'm willing to be inappropriate completely. Yeah. There's no shame in it for me.
There ain't no shame in it.
Yeah. So freedom, baby, freedom.
There you go. That's what it's about. And I'm sure that this conversation will not pertain at all to the coming holiday season, when people go insane with all of the ridiculousness about they can't buy gifts, they have to buy gifts, they have to do this, they got to go to grandma's, they got to fix the pie, they got to. What if you being willing to be unshaming you could actually permeate into the ethers and be a contribution to changing some of that? Yeah. And you know what? It's not your job. You don't have to change it for anyone else. Just be willing, if you're willing, to let it change for you. And you might notice that some cool stuff goes on in your universe, in the people's lives that you're a part of. And how does it get even better than that? It's not your job. It's just like one of the perks, you know. But yeah, don't use any of these tools for the holiday season, because I don't imagine they'll be.
Think about it.
I don't imagine they'll be helpful at all.
Check in with us after the holidays.
Yeah. We'll have some fresh stuff for you then, right?
Just drink a lot. No, I'm just kidding. I'm so not. Oh my God. For those of you literal folks out there, I'm joking. I'm being ridiculously silly. Facetious. You better cut me off before I just.
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, thank you, folks. And please, if you have anything you want to hear us talk about, if you'd like to make any suggestions for topics, we would love to have that. You know, just wow. Happy, joy. And we appreciate you. We so appreciate you. And we know there ain't no shame in you being all of who you came here to be. So,
amen.
Do it, my friends. Choose
Amen.
It. Choose it.
Choose it.
We adore you, and we will see you next week for Sexually Speaking. Another
Bye, y'all. Go have some fun now.